What is going on, eaters and feeders? I wanted to put together a video that described and really allows you to get a better sense as to what types of software you're going to be able to get rid of or avoid spending your money on, avoid learning, because Eat is going to take care of a lot of different pieces of software as far as their functionality is concerned. It's going to be able to do a lot of the stuff that you'd otherwise find yourself paying for subscriptions and going through tutorials and all sorts of other stuff. This software, as I mentioned in the walkthrough, and if you haven't checked out the walkthrough, I suggest you do that. There will be a link below, or maybe I'll do something fancy like a little link popping up on the screen depending on where you're watching this. But initially, this is probably just going to be going out to the private members. Eventually, this might be a public video if I'm too lazy to remake it for the public audience on YouTube. In any case, if you haven't seen the walkthrough already, check that out. Maybe you want to check that out first. This is going to get a little bit more specific as to what software you won't have to buy, what features you're going to be able to have, what special powers you'll have with Eat without having to buy these other softwares. So as I mentioned in the walkthrough, it could be a very overwhelming software, and I don't want anybody to feel overwhelmed. I assure you that I didn't always have this knack for picking up new software. It's something I've kind of tricked myself into, liking. I almost want to, I kind of hesitate before I use the word like, but I do enjoy. There's a part of my crazy brain that now enjoys getting into an unfamiliar software, and it's still awkward in the beginning when you don't know anything. You can't find your way in, out, and around the software as you want to, but eventually once stuff starts clicking, it is very enjoyable to, I always feel it's like gaining a superpower. So expect to feel intimidated. This software does a lot. If you weren't intimidated by it, it wouldn't be impressive. So it does have a lot of features. Now, as far as the layout, it's very user-friendly. Actually, it's one of the better softwares that I've ever seen in any industry. And I've built my own software. I've been on multiple software projects, from web-hosted stuff, local stuff, integrating open source stuff, all sorts, just custom builds, all sorts of stuff. And this is, I was actually on the phone with the developers, and I said, it feels like you saw my wish list plus some extra stuff that I haven't even thought of yet, and then you went and did them. Now, a lot of people who have been involved in software projects before, you've probably experienced that there's a wish list that just never gets done. And I'm sure there's still a lot more to come, but the stuff that's already available is it's almost on the level of magic as far as where you are right now. So I wanted to talk about some of the software that you're gonna not have to familiarize yourself with, or if you're already using this. I know a lot of you probably aren't using any of this stuff. You're probably not on this level. Maybe some of them, but some of you are on some of them. But I doubt any of you are on all of this software that I'm about to mention. There might be some equivalents, but this is only a handful, really. There were more, but they kind of got more and more esoteric, and I didn't want to confuse you guys or, again, overwhelm you too much. I want this to be exciting. I want you to look at this list of software that you're not going to have to spend money on and get to learn, because Eat, the meal plan software that you're going to be using, is going to include all of this stuff. So when you see this pile and you see that number at the bottom, don't feel intimidated. Unless you decided you didn't want to use Eat and instead you wanted to spend it's a lot of money to get the equivalent features out of these other softwares. And I will do the total at the end. This is an approximation, and I'll go through where some will vary and how much they'll vary. But this is like broad strokes, just a handful of the software. These are the most important ones. The other ones that you don't have on this list, like I said, they're esoteric things that you either wouldn't be using all the time. Some of you might not get into that kind of nitty-gritty stuff, or it doesn't matter. They're nominal costs. So let's start off at the top, and these are in no particular order, but let's start off with the first one I have is project management. Now, there is built-in project management features in Eat. So if you have stuff that is just internal, little projects that you're working on, you can actually manage them through Eat. So if you want to assign stuff to a certain department or a certain individual, And these might be tasks that are related to the customer experience, like follow up with these people or whatever it is, or it could be something that's unrelated to that, like make a new poster for the entrance of the building, like something that has nothing to do with your website, your customers, or software or anything else. It could still be a project that's managed through this. Now, there's two software programs that I've used and I enjoy. All of these software I would also recommend if I didn't have a better opportunity through Eat for you guys. This would be the software that I was planning on talking to you guys about. A lot of these you've probably heard me mention, like HubSpot, which I'll get into later. So these are softwares that this is what I would recommend to you. Now, fortunately, I've got a much better recommendation now. Had that not exist, I fully endorse these companies. This is not talking poorly about any of these companies. These are the companies that I've used that I would recommend you using, but I've got a better solution for you, so you can decide. So Asana and Basecamp. There are plenty of project management software programs out there. I've used a few of them. There's some that I didn't like my experience, but I've heard other people who swear by them, so it all comes down to that particular person. But the gist of Asana and Basecamp are very similar to Trello. Some people might be familiar with. There's tons of other alternatives, but it's basically a project management software that allows you to create to-do lists, not only for yourself, for team members. You can assign people to tasks. You can assign multiple people to tasks. There can be different stages of the task where this person starts on stage 1, and once they're done, it passes on to the next person. So again, a lot of you, this might be one of the software programs that a lot of you aren't using yet, just because unless you're coming from the corporate world or startup world or tech world, that's really where you're going to find these companies. Basecamp, actually, I believe that was made by a company called 37 Signals, and the owner of 37 Signals wrote, they've got some interesting story, but they wrote a book. Rework is a book. I highly recommend the book as well. I think the story behind Basecamp, or the story behind, they've got a CRM that they made as well called High Rise. Fun little story, kind of unrelated, but they basically made their own, I don't know if it was the project management software or the CRM, but I believe they were a CRM company, and they made their own project management software, or vice versa, and they realized, wow, we've got this great piece of software that isn't our main focus. We just use this internally, but we've made this so good, we can market it. So they actually ended up pivoting and having one of their leading products. I want to say it was the CRM, but I feel like it makes more sense to have a CRM already and be working on project management stuff internally to help you keep track of your tasks. In any case, check out the book Rework, and I wish that anecdote was a little bit clearer for you, but you guys get the gist of that. Having, ironically, some better product or service that you're using yourself, not only could they identify with the person who had that problem because they were experiencing that problem, and that put them in a great position to solve it, but that's what's beautiful about this. There might be something, actually another example of that is another software I'm going to talk about, Recipal. I spoke with the owner, the founder, the creator of Recipal, another great piece of software, and he created Recipal out of a solution to become the solution for a problem that they had. They had a beef jerky company with some of his friends, and they realized that the recipe software out there left a lot to be desired. So 2 examples right there in our list. So anyway, Basecamp and Asana, both awesome. Asana and Basecamp will run you, Basecamp has a flat fee of $99, and Asana starts off free. I think Basecamp may also have a free version. I'm not sure. No, they have a free trial, but not a free version. Asana does have a free version. Trello is also another cool one. Also free like Asana, so you could check those out. Asana is Asana. Basecamp, spelled like it sounds, one word. And then Trello, Trello, like hello, with TR, Trello. So project management software. There we go. All right, the next one, this one probably is a bit more common, MailChimp. MailChimp is, if you're not familiar, it's an email marketing software. You can't blast out a bunch of emails just from your Gmail. You will get spammed. You'll end up on all sorts of lists. I don't know how bad it could get. Maybe you could lose your email. But there are definitely a lot of rules that you have to abide by. And using a software program like MailChimp allows you to send email without, getting spammed, and you can follow certain procedures. There's little opt-in things that allow people to unsubscribe, or opt-out things that allow people to unsubscribe, all sorts of little features like that. So if you're not using MailChimp and you want to send emails out to people, which is a really good idea if you're trying to remind them to put their orders in, or you're following up in the sales process, or you're trying to follow up with them and get them back on the program, whatever it is, using a mail marketing management software is definitely advisable over shooting out Gmails one-off, or even doing it in a list. It's not professional. It's not going to work right. And in any case, MailChimp, you can actually run, for a lot of you, you'll probably be able to get away with the free version of MailChimp for quite some time. Now, MailChimp does get up into the hundreds of dollars, but I'm going to be realistic, and I'm not going to pad these expenses to make it seem more scary. You're going to be convinced by the end of this anyway. But let's say we were using the free version of MailChimp. So far we're at $0 to $99 for the first project management software, if we're even using that, and then $0 for MailChimp right now. All right. Now the next one is going to be RingCentral. RingCentral is a VoIP system, voice over IP. It's basically your digital phone. Now, what's cool about RingCentral is, since it's software based, it allows you to change all sorts of things on a whim. You can have phone directories and change the message in that, and you can change what phone rings when you call what number, set up extensions, and you're able to also have a soft phone versus a hard phone. You could forward to your cell phone. A soft phone is a software phone, so that would be where you're using just plugging into the side of your computer with, or you could be using your wireless earbuds if you're fancy like that. But it allows you to use your computer or an app on your cell phone to use it the same way you would a cell phone. So you'd be a regular phone. So your office number, your landline number, could be going to your computer if you're working remotely. It could be going to the app. You can also call out. In both cases, using that same number, the extensions, everything else works the same, but instead of it going to a desk phone, you could say, okay, while I'm at the office, boom. You could program times to automatically forward. You can select ring groups. And for those of you who are familiar with VoIP services, this is all expected. A lot of companies allow you to do this. RingCentral isn't unique in that way. RingCentral is just one of the biggest. I've used RingCentral. I have a background in call centers. I've worked and also owned call centers, and RingCentral is just one of the names that is most ubiquitous. So RingCentral is, I would probably turn you on to either RingCentral or CallSprout. Both of them are going to start same basic features, and both are probably going to start around the same price range of about $40 to $50, depending on some of the features and things like that. And that's for one number. That's for one chair. Now, if you're going to have several different people, you've got customer service person, your desk, maybe salesperson eventually, and receptionist or operator, whatever, a few different numbers, that will start tacking it on. And they do have bulk discounts, but that's like, I don't know, 5, 7, 10. Like at that point, hopefully you're not going to be as worried about adding $50 a month to your phone bill, and it'll be a nominal discount. Like I think you really have to be buying a lot of what they call chairs to really get that down substantially. So still going to be looking at $40 to $50. Let's say 50, just to be conservative on that one. Now again, that is going to be included in EAT. All of this is going to be included in EAT. They have, on top of having an awesome CRM and an awesome ordering system and all this other stuff, they also have a telecom company that is going to be your voice, VoIP, voice over. If you ever see VoIP or VoIP, that's voice over IP. So internet phone. Now they're going to have VoIP as well as the next item on the list, which is going to be SMS, texting. You want to be able to text your members. You're not texting your members. you're missing out. There's a lot of people, I don't know about you, but you're better off texting me. I don't like picking up the phone. I don't like picking up numbers I don't know. Sometimes I'm just too busy to talk. The most efficient way for you to reach me and allow me to communicate back with you without me having to call and say, hey, I've got a missed number, who was this, blah, blah, commit all that time. People don't have that attention span. They don't want to be on the phone more often than not. A lot of people don't want to be on the phone. I suggest you start texting your members. If you aren't texting them already, you should be texting sales. Be using as a sales tool, a retention tool, a customer service tool, all sorts of stuff. Texting. Eat has texting built in, so that will also save you from the next companies I would have turned you on to would be Sales Message. Again, these companies are still great. Sales Message, they price it in it's like credits. You buy, roughly works out to about $25 per 1,000 texts, and that's also the minimum. So we're spending at least $25 a month just to have the account active, and that comes with 1,000 texts. That 1,000 texts seems like a lot if you're probably only using so you got 20, 50, 100 members, seems like a lot, but depending on what you use it for, we use the text for not only sales efforts. You'll probably get multiple texts a week if you become a lead, and then once we've signed you up, we might be using it to remind you to get your order in, put your bags out. Hey, you forgot to put your bags out last night, all sorts of things. So you could actually blow through 1,000 text messages pretty quickly. So I think we spend somewhere around hundreds of dollars with Sales Message with our texting the way it's currently set up. So you wouldn't have unlimited text for free, but the minimum that you'd be expecting to pay would be, I'd say, $500 a month just to have the texting service app. So that's Sales Message and Easy Texting. If you were to do texting without this service, Eat, those were the companies that I would recommend. And each have their disadvantages and advantages. Sales Message is better for one-on-one texting, whereas Easy Texting is better for mass texting. So you could accomplish both with either system, but neither one is ideal to do the other thing. It could get it done, but it's not the best. I mean, you can go grocery shopping with a Ferrari, but that's not really what it's there for, right? So I do have the good news of telling you that that is also included in Eat. So again, it won't be unlimited free texting. I forget how their credit system works out, but if you don't use it except for like a handful of times, you're not paying that minimum of $25 that you're just burning every month. So it's more realistic, and you start off with free credits. I forget how many free credits you get a month, like a free maybe 1,000 or so, so you wouldn't have to worry about it. But in any case, what's most important is even with these free software programs, not having to learn them, even if they're free, by having it all in one system, you won't have to learn it. You'll be able to automate it. Again, two different software programs, even if they're both free, probably not getting them to talk to each other. And if you are getting them to talk to each other, you're paying for that, either having a developer setting up the API or using something like Zapier. You're also having to learn these different software programs. Just connecting two software programs means you need to learn three, because you need to know both of these and then Zapier. So I'll teach you how to do that stuff, or save yourself the time and just get on Eat. I mean, it makes too much sense. Again, if you haven't seen the demo, make sure you're doing that after this. I don't know how interesting this would be if you haven't seen it yet. There's going to be a link for a sign up. Again, probably not. This video probably won't make it public. I don't know. Maybe it will. I don't know how lazy I'll be. So we got texting. Like I said, $25 minimum. Now, here's one you're going to want to sit down for. So go ahead and sit down. You guys have heard me speak about HubSpot. I love HubSpot. HubSpot is the most impressive, like out-of-the-box CRM I've ever worked with. It is phenomenal. They've got these different modules where you can, depending on your business's objective and what you're trying to use the CRM for, you can buy their sales module. Well, you license it. You pay every month to get the sales tools unlocked. They got a sales module with all these automated features and all these things that help your sales team become more effective. It gives you a pipeline, so you're able to put a deal in and work the deal through the different stages, so every deal that's in this column is on their third day. They need this call with this message. This is also stuff that I get into in my sales training. So if you haven't checked that stuff out, you don't know what I'm talking about, if you're not familiar with sales, especially phone sales, I'm not an expert, but it's my background. So I've got that information for you to check out as well. In any case, HubSpot has that. So you could buy that module, license that module. Then they've got a marketing module, which helps you automate emails and things like that. And honestly, if you were to get the marketing module, you probably wouldn't need the MailChimp, although I also said MailChimp was free, but that would help you from having to learn a different software, or you could just get Eat, and all of this would be way easier because it's all one. What else do they have? They have two other ones. One of them is like customer service. I think they call it the customer support module. And the way that one differs, and you can get all of these together. In fact, that's what I would recommend. But the way that one works is it's a ticket system. So if someone has an issue, they can submit a ticket instead of having to call online or email, details all the issues, good ticket, bad ticket, and you could use the tickets internally to get stuff done and have documentation. And it makes it harder for things to fall through the cracks. If someone calls and complains and, hey, I didn't get my food, it was delivered to my neighbor, no problem, we're going to run out an extra bag. If there's a ticket for that, you have the notes and everything documented for the initial call, then that's assigned to the next person, and you're able to see if it gets done, awesome, and then you're also you got this floating reminder to make sure it gets done. A lot of the times when you deal with customer service, you ever hear them say like, oh, I'm going to submit a ticket, I'm going to have tier 3 tech call you back, I'll have my manager review this, let me submit a ticket. That's what they're talking about. So that's a customer service tool. Again, that's another module of HubSpot. You could start with HubSpot for free, and that's what I would suggest. Again, if you're not going to use Eat, HubSpot is one of the best CRMs I've ever seen. Now, they starts free, but a lot of those modules are locked down, so you don't have a lot of the cool features. What's genius about HubSpot is they do let you let you close enough to the cool features that you're not paying for, so you're enticed to pay for them. But what would it cost you to get the licenses that you need? Now, they come with a minimum of I think 5 chairs. So before you fall on the floor, you're getting a minimum of 5 chairs. But now to have that 5 chairs, you have 5 phone lines as well. So now we're talking, that goes up to $250. So you see how things get up there. But that actually ends up being $1,275 for the HubSpot. And I already blew the ending. Got one more round of software, but $1,275 is what HubSpot would cost you for that bundle. And again, that's the marketing bundle. That's the customer service, the customer support bundle with the ticketing feature. It's a sales package with the pipelines and all that, the automation, workflows and stuff like that, they call it. So yeah, that's not, and that's every month. So $1,275. Now, every single one of these software programs that are mentioned in here, they're all worth it. These prices, like that one, might be a little shocking, but they're worth it because this will allow you to avoid mistakes that are very expensive. Avoid hiring extra people. Honestly, like with enough automation with your software, it puts you in a position where you don't have to take on another salary, it helps in so many ways. So I will say that while these prices, especially for HubSpot, might seem staggering, HubSpot, that's completely worth it. Now, the good news is, the even better news is, if you're looking to get on with Eat has all those things that I just mentioned. Crazy, right? And it's not going to be $1,200. In fact, there's a way that you can actually get Eat for free. So I'm not allowed to discuss that publicly. We're going to have more on that probably in the private group, and definitely join the private group. Get involved, get in touch, and find out more. I might be discussing it publicly eventually, but right now, hush hush on the pricing. But there is a way that is just came up with. Everyone hearing it through this video is hearing it first. We do have an opportunity now to make the software free. I mentioned that in a post last night in the private group. There's a request for some more information. I also had 3 conversations now discussing, oh, what software am I going to be able to cancel to like justify the price? And it's just, there's no price to justify. But in any case, let's finish up the software. And really should have saved HubSpot for last because that's the biggest one, but I didn't put these in any order. And then the last one is going to be Kitchen Cut and Recipal. Now, I just did a demo on Recipal. Kitchen Cut, I wouldn't advise you to go to. So I mentioned I'd tell you to go to any of these companies. No, to be honest, I would say skip Basecamp, go with Asana because it's free, and skip Kitchen Cut because it's more expensive. Go with Recipal. Recipal is easier to use, it's cheaper, but Recipal is still going to cost you $50 a month for what you're going to need. If you're not changing your recipes that often, you can cancel that free or the $50 membership. And basically the way it works is if you have the free membership, you're restricted to how many new recipes you're able to put in every month. If you put them all in 1 month and you're not changing your recipes and you don't have to go in and do a recalculation of your macros, your recipes, your costs, or any of that, as long as you're not putting new stuff in, you still have access to it all. So that's what's really cool about Recipal, and I can't endorse them highly enough. It's a great piece of software, a great wizard tutorial walkthrough kind of thing. Very, very good. It's also a pretty intuitive layout. And then they also have a video walkthrough. So they really do a great job at making it so you could find everything you need, get the most out of the software. But that is also going to be included in, sorry about that. That is also going to be included in EAT. There's a recipe database that takes care of your macros, your labeling. It's got a USDA database, so it's pulling in all of the nutritional facts for your ingredients. It's able to calculate all that stuff. You put in the cost for your ingredients. It's able to tell you how much you're spending on your ingredients. It's able to tell you what your production should be, your purchasing, what your waste is, all that, your food costs, like everything to the meal, to the side. You're able to get all that done, again, in EAT. And this is something that I've seen other software that actually costs more than both of these. I've seen another one, I'm not going to mention their name, but they're like $450 a month. And again, you run your whole restaurant off of it or whatever, and they're trying to get in the meal plan space, not really designed for it. Kitchen Cut is $187 a month for the package that you need. So that's a pretty expensive license. Recipal, way cheaper, $50, turn it on and off when you need it. So altogether, being conservative, even though I already gave this away, we're looking at $1,400 a month. And again, there's more software that like either it's not something you'd use all the time or it's free or super cheap that I didn't put on here. Stuff like $10 a month for a chatbot. Like $10 a month, I'm not going to bother putting it on here, but add another $10 a month. It costs you another $10 a month minimum for a chatbot, for ManyChat. $10 a month. Chatbot also already included in here. Chatbot that I believe will not only work on your chats on desktop, but I believe you can also automate texting. So you can make it so people are answering questions without you having to sit there and text them back and forth. And it allows you to seem like a bigger company without having to add all these salaries and all these obligations and train all these people. But more importantly, your customer's experience is better. That's the benefit of being a bigger company. That's the only reason people like bigger companies, is because there's that idea of, okay, there's somebody to always pick up the phone when I call if it's a big enough company. But we all know it's probably not. But we know when you get the best service, when is it? It's going to be when you go to a mom and pop place, usually, right? So if you're able to offer the level of service and intimacy and friendliness and that relationship building experience to your members, but also be as consistent as a major company, as seemingly ubiquitous as a major company. You got a chatbot that's answering your text and your Facebook communication, and your emails are going out without a hitch because they're all automated and they're personalized emails, and they're sending me an email on my 3rd week of the program that's talking about it being week 3, and it feels so personalized and individualized, and this is all done through the software. That's what's important, is not to say that you don't want to hire people, but you definitely don't want to fire people. And if you end up hiring too many people, you're in a higher likelihood of having to fire some or all of them. If you hire too many people and you put yourself out of business because salary is too high now, that's bad news for everybody. Even if you just realize, oh, Bob, I hired you and actually don't need you, like that sucks. Software avoids putting you in that position. I know larger companies who, when they had to go up and down with the swings of the holidays when they were first getting into this business, and you get larger and you drop 30% for the month of December, and you just hired a bunch of people because you were growing and you didn't know that 30% was just going to be temporary, and they had to lay off a bunch of people, and then they immediately start growing through January again, that they got to hire them back on. If they had software doing those jobs, they wouldn't have been in that position. They wouldn't have had to hire all those extra people to man the phones or send out emails or do whatever the software could be doing. So there's a lot of power to putting yourself in a position where you don't have to hire somebody, or you can wait longer to hire somebody, especially when every single penny counts when you're trying to grow and stay lean. Software helps you do that. Now, this software costs a lot of money. $1,400 though is still a steal, because even if you hired one person for $3,000 a month, they're not going to be able to make all that stuff happen. They're not going to be able to send out thousands of texts a month, do thousands of emails a month. This is stuff that this software is able to do like that. That person wouldn't help you keep track of people like a CRM would. So the software, $1,400 a month, yeah, it's expensive. I would still do it. Fortunately, again, you guys don't have to do it if you get on Eat. And like I said, it could be free. I'd like to give you more details on that. Not sure how much of it is proprietary or what, but join the group. We can have an open discussion. Make it easy if you're not already a member of the group. But yeah, tried making it short. Looks like we're over a half hour already. I'll skip the intros and the outros, just to keep it easy for you guys. If you have questions, if you're interested, if you're convinced, check out the link below. If you're not interested at all, if you're not interested in being in the meal prep game, ignore the links and everything else. But if you have any slight interest in the meal prep game, this software it's unfair, honestly. I keep telling you guys how jealous I am of you. This software is going to be phenomenal. So I can't wait to be rolling it out. It is July 6th. So as of right now, we're working up some final details. I hope to be getting my first guinea pig going through enrollment this week. And then if that goes well, I want to see how many of you guys I can help in the quickest amount of time, the shortest amount of time, without rushing anybody. I want to make sure everybody's set up correctly. I don't want anybody getting halfway through and then, attention goes on to the next group and someone's stuck in between their old system and their new system. I want to make sure everyone's good, everyone's got their questions answered, and everyone's confident. So it will be a little slow. There will be a bit of a bottleneck initially, but by the end of this year, you guys are going to have superpowers. So you're welcome.